Welcome back to a little update video. We are talking today about AMC, GME, BYND, FFAI, NIO, Canopy, and RXT. If you're interested, just stay tuned. As always, I'm using the Fractal method, explanation video with rules, how it works, and so on. I will put at the end of the video again. Okay, so let's jump into AMC and GME. So because it worked so good and I really liked it, we will do the same like in the last video today. First, we will talk about the bullish scenario on AMC and GME. And after that, for the people who are interested, we will also look at the bearish versions. And I really hope I can upload this video because I think they want to silence me. Yeah, because it's Saturday and you have to imagine there is one place in my street where my internet cable is going over the ground. One place. And in exactly this place, someone crashed into it and killed my cable. So I'm working here with mobile internet now because on the weekend, of course, nobody is repairing internet cables. Nice. Okay. So, also as always, if you want the big story with price targets, with 1-part squeeze, 2-part squeeze, how the whole thing will look like, I will also link this video at the end of this video. Today, we will only talk about what happened last week and a few other things. So let's zoom in. So for the first question and to kill the elephant in the room at the beginning, can we squeeze on Monday? And with squeeze, I mean a gap up over May 2024. So a gap up over $13. That's the only way to see a squeeze, in my opinion. And the answer to this is yes. Yeah. Do I believe it? Is it in my tracking? No. But I would love to be wrong. Really, this time I would love to be wrong. I would still sit in the next video and say I was wrong because it's not in my tracking. For the main tracking, even with this move on Friday, I would even say that is confirmation. This was the peak of our higher low. For the main tracking, all next week, we should pull back to 135. Yeah, just to be under A or our 786, which is sitting quite at the same place. Yeah. And then second week of June, we can go. Yeah. Why I am so stubborn and why do I still think that? Yeah, my famous 1 hour charts again. Yeah. This time just like this. So we see it more stretched and not only the small cases. Here, left side is of course today, 1 hour chart. Right side is January 2021. Down here, left side is April to May 2024. And the last one is April to May 2025. So we always had an A run on every of these 3 squeezes. In 2021, we did a higher low and then ran to A. In 2024, we didn't do a higher low and just ran to A. And in 2025, we did a massive higher low and then ran to higher low. In 2026, we did quite the same thing like in 2024. We just ran up to A. In all cases, we did a 0.5 or 618 pullback. And in all cases, in every single squeeze case, we did a higher low after the pullback of A. In 2025, in 2024, and in 2021. Also, what is absolutely the same in every one of these squeezes is the peak candle of the higher low. It always nearly went over the lower high of every single one. And in my opinion, every one of these candles went over M. And we did that on Friday. That's why I am so fucking stubborn that I think we still need this higher low. Yeah, because in my opinion, why should we now, for the first time in history of AMC, not do a higher low? Why? I mean, the only way to say, okay, why, is first, we have the wrong position. We come to that in a second. Second, this time it's magical. We are doing something different. But okay, if we magically doing something different, we can just sit here and pray, because then we can't track it. If we're doing something different, this was you don't track anything after that. If it's different, you can't say, okay, this is this and this. No. If it's different, it's completely different. Just say. So in my opinion, this could be on Friday. Already have been confirmation that we're doing a pullback. Could be wrong. Yeah. And I will sit here and say I was wrong when I'm wrong. Yeah. I have no problem. And I'm not saying, yeah, because, and no. If we break up here, I was wrong. So now to the question before we go into GME. What if we not squeeze on Monday? But what if we still going up? Yeah? So let's say, what if we're on Monday doing 20% up? And on Tuesday 5%, and on Wednesday 30%. Yeah? What if we're just slowly going up and breaking 200 AMA and still slowly going up? And that's the version where I would say we are in the wrong position. Because the only way, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, is if we're not doing a higher low here, then this was just a normal A pullback. Means we just will go up. Some in here will be a normal B. You will most likely will do a 0.5 pullback. You will still go up, and then you will meet your normal C. And in that case, this normal C won't break the macro resistance line. Not only that, you won't break over May 2024. And not only that, this C, in my opinion, would become macro T. And that would be absolutely bad. Yeah. Why? I mean, okay, we could still make money. In my opinion, it would be something between $7 and $10-ish, yeah, if we just go a little bit over this trend line. And then, like the bearish version, you will slowly grinding down to the end of the year to new all-time lows. That's not bad. You could still make money. With this, you could still even make money to the downside because you could short it. Wouldn't do that. The puts on AMC are not really paying that well because nobody wants to short it. The main problem is this T. If this is really becoming a macro T, also our macro M would come down here. And you would still fall till end of this year. But the main problem with this is you will still find a V here. You will still do a higher low. You will still start a run in 2027, 2028. The main problem with this is that the big price targets will die. Your next A would be around $7. That would be the first part. And your second part would go around 50. In that case, I don't think we will reach all-time highs again. That's the main problem with this version. Yeah, that's why I really don't want to see AMC slowly going up next week. I really don't want to see that. Gapping, squeezing, fine. Yippee, yay, everyone is happy. Slowly still going up, and especially breaking 194. Ugh. It would kill the main squeeze. It would still kill the main squeeze. But let's see. Yeah. For timing, we will look at GME in a second. The bearish alternative is just we're making this pullback, but we're not stopping, and we break this low. Yeah, then it's over for 2026. Let's just say, yeah. But let's see. Okay, now I talked about the bearish thesis already before. I said, be careful. Sorry. Okay. Then let's jump into GME. So for GME also, for the big version, for price targets, for how the squeeze should look like, I will link the big update video at the end of the video. For GME, it's a very short one, bullish version, because we broke my no-no line on Friday. And this was bad. But for the bullish version, you only have one chance. Main problem here is this was our previous A. Yeah? Up, perfect. Pullback, perfect. And this pullback should have been our last pullback before the squeeze. But the main problem with this is we broke the 786 with this pullback here. And whatever you do, if you give AMC the doubt, the fail of the doubt that the higher low can go over T, that's all still some like, okay, but A isn't allowed to break under the 786. It just isn't. End of story. So this can't be A. The only way to make that in some way or form still bullish means that this whole thing is higher low. I'm talking about this whole thing has to be higher low. In that case, also, we have to see next week trend change. We just have to. Also for this, is it possible that we squeeze next week? Yeah, I mean the same like AMC. Yeah. Do I believe that? No. Yeah. Will I sit here and say I was wrong? Yes, if we do that. Would I be happy? Yes. I bought some YOLO weeklies just because of that case. What I mean with trend change, if you see this here, we have to go over this trend next week. We have to. Yeah. So for the bullish version, we have to go over this. Main thing here is this is just higher low. So before we do anything, we still need our A. So we have to go over 28, 29 for our A, have to pull back, and then we can squeeze. And that in the next 2 weeks. And I will show that too. How we should do that in that fucking short time, I don't know. I hope GME is surprising us. Yeah. But I don't know. But I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that GME isn't surprising us. Yeah. So that's the bullish version. You have time till Friday to change my mind, GME. You have till Friday to show me something. So for GME now, yeah. That was the bullish case. Now comes the bearish case. Yeah, for all people who are not interested. So the bearish case is quite easy. For fuck's sake, if you're not doing anything next week, if you just go sideways next week, if you're riding this fucking trend to the downside next week, till Friday. I buy puts on Friday, and to make that clear, on Friday, the 5th of June for January for $14. Why? Before we go into the tracking, I will just want to show you why I'm looking for, why I really stubborn on this. You only have now 2 weeks left. Next, in 2 weeks, June 10 is earnings. Yeah? And we only have to look at the last 6 years. What happened in June? So here is June 2025. Earnings was on June 10. Same thing like this year. Here, May was the top. Rest of the year was downside. Then we look at June 2024. This was here. Also here, of course, May was the top. June was the lower high. Rest of the year was downside. Then we look at June 2023. Here's June 2023. Was a top. After that, only downside. June 2022 is the only one of all these where you still went up into July, but also here, March was the top. Rest of the year was only downside. Then we look at June 2021. Was here, March was higher and January was of course higher, but here June was the top. June 10 was earnings. Rest of the year was downside. And the most shitty part is June 2021. 2020 here. And this landmark is really a problem because you had here June 10. Rest of the year is downside. Why is this landmark so problematic? That's the reason. Yeah. Left side, 24 hours. April 2020 to July 2020. Right side, 24 hours from April 2020 till today. And I think you already see what I mean. Yeah. That's why. If you compare these two landmarks with each other, it's horrifying. It's really horrifying. What that imply would be that we are right now, yeah, here, somewhere in here. This would be bad. Yeah, I mean, this would imply that you even break 2024 lows. Even I don't think that, but this would imply this. Just saying. Yeah. For the main tracking, without we are looking at it looks like, yeah, because most of the time it's stupid to use something it looks like. Main problem if we're not seeing a trend reversal next week, yeah, is that the run from 2020 to 2024, this is still our macro A. And 2024 till today, this here is just a higher low for our A, nothing more. Yeah. Problem with this is, and that was always the problem, that this higher low isn't finished. Because, you know, a higher low is going under the 786 or under V under A. So let's look. If we take the 786, the 786 is sitting at $16. If we look where the most likely A bottom is here, 13.65. And that's why, if we're not seeing a fucking trend change next week, I think this is what will happen. We will just maybe go sideways or grinding down. That would be for me confirmation if we do that for next week. And on earnings, you're getting the first knife to what? First of all, you look at this M here. This whole thing is just M. The M started here. To finish this M, you have to go under this, where it started. So the first knife, which will be, in my opinion, a gap down, the same thing like here, would go to $16-ish. You will get a bounce here, for sure. Same like here. Yeah, you knife in June. The rest of the June, you're going sideways into August, and into September, October, you're going up again. In that case, you would do something stupid like this. You will go up again and fill this gap from this earnings drop. This will be your T. And then the rest of the year till November, you will go down to 1360. Then you will do a higher low, and then January, May 2027, we can start going bullish again. That's the alternative for GME. And the only way to not get this is if we fucking trend change next week. We have to go up. Two last things. First of all, GME is quite strange this year, because normally GME was always the one which looked better than AMC. Yeah? And it was always quicker than AMC. What do I mean with that? Here is May 2024. Yeah? Left side AMC, right side GME. And it's always the same play. AMC is running to its A, the same like GME ran up to its A, both to the pullback. AMC is doing its peak of the higher low, like AMC did last Friday. But GME is already running. Yeah? During the time AMC is pulling back, AMC is already sitting high up here and just going sideways. And then both go into the squeeze. Yeah? 2021, the same shit. In 2021, it was even worse. Yeah? Because here, left side, channel 2021, right side, GME. In the time where AMC was doing its little higher low, look the fuck where GME was already. GME was always since months going up, and in the moment AMC here made its little higher low and pullback, GME was already fucking running up. And if we look now, this is now. AMC did its A, did its pullback, most likely did its higher low. And what is doing GME? GME is falling and falling and falling and falling. Yeah? I think you already heard the sentence. Yeah? AMC always squeezes from its low. GME squeezes from its highs. What the hell? What is this? GME is falling. Yeah. So maybe this time we're doing it the other way. Yeah. GME squeezing from its lows and GME and AMC from its highs. Yeah. But it would be the first time. This year, this time right now, GME looks like shit. Yeah. Only way to change this is fucking reversal next week. And that's the main problem. If we don't get a reversal, in my opinion, I could be wrong. You can hate me. Yeah. But the thing is, if GME is not doing a reversal till next Friday, I showed you all the last Junes. I just can't track it bullish after that anymore. And if I can't track GME bullish, why should I track AMC bullish? The main problem with AMC is, even if GME is really going the bearish route, with the knife down and blah, 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 AMC will look, since in the next 3 months, AMC will still look bullish because AMC is not knifing. AMC will slowly going down, will come up for a lower high and so on. It will slowly go going down to its all-time low. but it would still be bearish. GME is an old little fucking bitch. Yeah, it will fake you. Yeah, but if you're not thinking that all of a sudden the synchronization is off the table, if GME is bearish, COS and AMC has to be bearish too. And one thing before we go into IWM for this confirmation, sadly, it would even make sense. Because if you think back to 2020 and 2021, the main meme basket, most of this play, Above and Beyond, NIO, what's the cannabis plays, Riot, Plug, and so on. Just tip in 2020 memes. All these memes went half a year, a full year before AMC and GME. AMC and GME and a very few were the last ones. Just the last ones. Yeah? So if repeating this, we only have to look at the shooting order from 2020 and 2021. And if some of these are still living, Above and Beyond is still living and it's looking absolutely fine, I think we will just... BlackBerry went before AMC and GME. Yeah? Microvision went before AMC and GME. And they all look fucking ready. Yeah, I mean, BlackBerry is already fucking running, but it has a lot more to do. Yeah. But all these plays went before these tools. So if there's really, if we're not going in the next 2 weeks, in my opinion, it will be the same fucking shit like 2020 and 2021. These two shitholes will wait to the last second. And they will make new lows before they go. And in the meantime, or the whole meme basket, have fun. Yeah, sadly. But let's see. Before we come to the conclusion, one last thing because of IWM. Because so many people are comparing IWM. And I understand why. Just to see what this is. Yeah. Here, IWM from August 2018 to February 2021 on the 24-hour chart. On the right side, November 2021 till today. And I understand why people are comparing it. Because you can. Yeah. Here you have August 2018 would be like November 2021. Here you have January 2020 would be the same like December 2021. With the only difference that this was a lower high, and this was a slightly higher high. But the formation is still the same. Then both knifed. In 2020, it knifed way deeper, but still okay. Then both bounced, and both broke all-time highs. I think the tricky part here is, because most people are already saying that this is this. The thing is, in 2021, we went way lower than here in 2025. But this formation here is the same like this formation here. Yeah. Then you had a gap, and then you straight lined. So you can look at this, in my opinion, and I could be wrong. Yeah, it's just, it looks like this gap here is this gap here. So you still have this shit to do. That's why I'm pretty sure we are not going next week. But I'm also not saying that we are now waiting 5 months, yeah, or 4 months, yeah, because really, no, I don't give AMC so much and GME so much time. But I see a pretty good bullish market ahead in the next 2 weeks. So this could be already the next 2 weeks. Yeah. I mean, okay, of course, this back then was what? 28%. I don't think that, how long did this take back then? This took 65 days, yeah. I don't think we get 25% in 2 days. in 2 weeks. Yeah, but we don't need that. We maybe only need, I would say, 13%. And I mean, with the market conditions right now, why not? Yeah. If you want to compare these two, yeah, the squeeze of AMC and GME were up here. They are at the end of this run. This is not the end of this run yet. Yeah. So let's see. For conclusion, I want to see a pullback in AMC next week, really, or a squeeze. Don't care. Gap over 10, gap over 20, and I'm happy. If not, do the fucking pullback, and we are still fine. Worst case for me would be slowly going up, or not right. Would be the worst case. Worst case would be slowly going up and breaking 94 and still slowly going up. Yeah. Second worst case, we knife down here instantly. I don't think that will happen. Yeah, but also, this version would still be better than slowly going up because, yeah, it would kill the main squeeze. Yeah. And for GME, it's really simple. Fucking do a trend change. Or even I short you. Fucking do the trend change. This week is your last fucking chance, in my opinion. Okay, then let's jump into BYND. Also here, if you want to see the big story, yeah, I will link the video at the end of the video. Today we most likely, most of the time, only look what we have done last week. And because I got some questions, or one special question of a few, why I don't want to break 70 cents, I will talk about this today again. So, for the bullish tracking, because it's fucking bullish in my opinion, nothing really changed. We did our V, we did our A, we did our A pullback. I still think that the A pullback is finished with May 19th. We already did our small higher low. In my opinion, we also did already on Thursday our A breakout over little t, our A. We could be already finished with this little A pullback because we bounced on Friday on the 0.5. If this is not enough, you can still fall something around 76 cents, yeah, and then you bounce. I would still say green week ahead. What you're not allowed to do, the same thing like GME, you're not allowed to break or touch 74 cents because that's the 786. If we do that, this can't be A anymore. Wouldn't be the end of the world because this would be just then T. Yeah, I would hate it, but yeah. But in that case, you would still have to go under 72 and bounce here. Yeah, there's one thing, because I was talking to someone of you on this. Maybe really we misunderstood each other. Could be, yeah, because wrong foot or I don't know. We were talking, I think, half an hour in the comments, and nothing came out. The thing is, I think you are using the Elliott wave, if I'm right. I'm using my fractal theory. It's okay if you have another opinion. It's okay if you break 70 cents, that's no problem for you. For my tracking, with my theory, 70 cents is a no-go. We can discuss this till end of days. It wouldn't change. We are using two different versions. It doesn't matter if you think it's right or wrong. In my rule book, 70 cents is a no-go. Why? Because if you look here, from this low to this peak, to our A peak, 70 cents here is under the 786. If we break under the 786, this can't be A anymore. There is no way. This rule isn't there to be broken. If this is not A anymore, what can it be? It can't be higher low. It's not like AMC this time, because you're over T near M. This isn't a place for a higher low. So what would that be? You have two versions you could do. This could be T or M. And in both cases, the whole house of cards is falling. Yeah, because you will have to break this level here, 57 cents. If this is T, you might have a chance that you're not breaking all-time highs, all-time lows, but they're so low that most likely you will. If this is M, you will break all-time highs. Oh my God, you will break all-time lows. If you break all-time lows, the next house of cards is destroyed, because then October can't be higher low anymore. What can it be? This would be macro T then. If this is macro T, it doesn't matter where you bounce. You will make a new all-time low, wherever it is. And then the rest of the year, you will do a higher low. And then you will go. It doesn't mean that BYND is dying. It doesn't mean that we're doing a reverse split. Can happen, everything. But I will be out at 70 cents. Because I'm not waiting for the fucking end of year to do this higher low and then go. 70 cents is for me a no-go. And maybe we're talking completely different cases. Could be. When I was understanding it right, for your Elliott wave and for your research, 70 cents is no problem. For me, it's a fucking big problem. Yeah, that's it. And it doesn't matter what your Elliott wave theory, which I know, is saying. For my theory, it's bad. We won't come to a conclusion here. Just saying, we can't discuss with each other who is right or wrong. I mean, we will see who is right is wrong or who right is wrong. But how do I say that? Only because your theory is saying 70 cents is no problem, you can't tell me that it's also no problem for my theory. That's the main point I wanted to make. But to make that absolutely clear, I hope and I think we don't even have to discuss this. Yeah? Because if we're not touching 70 cents, which I don't think so, we have never to talk about that again. You know? Easy as that. If we bounce next week, fuck 70 cents. Yeah? That would be so much energy destroyed for nothing. We can discuss it if we break 70 cents. Yeah? So, to come back to the tracking, if we're bullish, if we're not touching 70 cents, if we're bouncing, what would be the next level? As I'm always saying, we have finished now a letter A. That means we could do something stupid. With something stupid, I mean we could just squeeze. If we not just squeeze, if we're doing it slowly, our next level is B. Yeah, B shouldn't break the main trend line around $5, $6, $7. A little bit big over, it doesn't matter. Yeah? The pullback of B would be a 0.5 from our A low. It also would, in my opinion, would be comparable to A, so it would take a few days and weeks, yeah, for this pullback. After that, we're coming to our little C. This little C is also at the same time our macro A. This macro A has to be over 50-50, under $43. Yeah, till July, August. Yeah, if we're not doing something stupid and this is just lower high, this top will be July, August. Also, again, the pullback of this A this pullback will take, in my opinion, till end of year, because every pullback of our main letters took at least a few months. Yeah, that's why I would expect that this pullback will also take a few months. Yeah, so end of 2026, early 2027. But BYND looks fucking great. And also to say this, if you look back here, in the moment in 2021, when AMC and GME squoze, BYND already did its lower high. BYND peaked in 2019, so before AMC and GME. So even if AMC and GME is bearish, BYND, I think, is still bullish. It's one of the ones with the shooting order of 2020, which went before AMC and GME. Just saying. Okay, next one, FFAI. Had also a good run on last Friday. For the tracking, FFAI ran with GME and AMC at its IPO in 2021. Yeah. So I don't know what will happen with FFAI if AMC and GME gets bearish. Because if FFAI gets bearish, it's gone. Yeah. So we have our C, lower high, midpoint, T. For the bullish tracking, April 2026 has to be our all-time low. We'll look at that in a second. For the next one, if you're bullish, A has to be over 4, B over 150, C going to 100K. With a forward split. Yeah. O without forward split, you have 3 reverse splits here. Without a forward split, your maximum target is 150, in my opinion. You won't see anything over that. And also, if repeating everything like always, you won't see B pullback and A pullback. You would just see something like this, or till here. Yeah? Now to the run on Friday. I mean, it was 26, 28%-ish, something like that. The only problem is, how do I say that? I think it's not finished with its higher low. Yeah, this whole thing for main tracking is still higher low. And our BYND is here at $27 cents. We came close, 1 cent close to it, but we didn't went under it. So for the main tracking purpose, this peak on Friday was our T. We will fall, same like AMC should do, the whole next week to Friday to 27, 26 cents, and in the second week of June's run. But same as AMC, I'm open-minded to it. If you go over 47 cents, so if you continue going up, if you break 47 cents, there's no pullback anymore. It's go time. You are too high for this. In that case, T has to be here. This was still our A. Would be creepy, but okay. And right now, you bounced at the 0.618. And you just go up. Yeah. So 47 cents and you go up. If not, you should reject already on Monday and going down here. Also, one warning. As always, for FFAI, it's really important. If you touch or break 20 cents, it's over for FFAI. Because then this whole thing becomes T and you will go to 10 cents. 10 cents on NASDAQ and you are gone in 10 trading days. You're delisted, OTC, end of story. There is no pause, there is no extension, nothing. It's not like if you fall under $1. If you fall under 10 cents, it's over. And they already approved a reverse split. And that's on purpose. If you fall under 20 cents, I guarantee you, you will get a massive reverse split. And it doesn't matter if they go bankrupt, OTC, or reverse split, because it would kill the play for everyone. Just saying, it still looks good. Yeah, don't break 20 cents. Okay, next one, NIO, just because it really looks like that we are in the end game now. NIO is one of the 2 stocks I have where you don't even need me, in my opinion. NIO and Riot. Yeah. NIO and Riot are, in my opinion, doing the Fractal, if you can say that, where you don't have to use my version. You can quite 99% just use bars pattern. So easy is Riot. What I mean with that, because you could easily compare this to this. That is what I mean. Just for the explanation for the people who don't know it or who are new, here's our M, we pull back, we go to our T, we go to our T, we go to our V, we go to our V. Yeah? Then both times in 2020 and in 2025, we did a nice higher low, In both cases, we broke out of trend to our A, over T, to our A, over T, did a beautiful head and shoulders, In both cases, we pulled back perfectly to the 618. Same here, perfect pullback to the 618. In both cases, after the pullback to the 618, we did a wonderful high low. And bounced. So I'm still the opinion, or now even more, that we are around here. To be fair, to be in May 2020. Yeah. So the only thing which is left is this one. Yeah. I already said in the last tracking, I don't want to break this low, but it wouldn't destroy, but I just don't want to do it. What I really don't want to do, if you break 438, it's over. Then something is wrong. NIO isn't allowed to touch or break 438. But I also don't think so. For this was now just a beautiful 618 pullback, and we bounced on Friday. So what is left? It's just for the first thing we are tracking, this version here. This is our next move to our middle B. And middle B has to be over M. Here's our M. So we have to go over $16. And in my opinion, till end of June, should be our B. Then we're doing this little pullback. This pullback of B is not a 0.5. Yeah. So if we repeat that, this will also be not a 0.5 pullback, and it will be a quite short one. And then we are already running to our C. And this C, to make that clear, will be over all-time highs. I don't know if we already get there till end of this year, but I would say till mid of next year easily. NIO is a monster. Whatever we get on news, I don't know. But NIO looks perfect. Okay. Then we will jump into Canopy. Just a little update on Canopy, because we are at a critical level right now. For normal tracking, C, lower high, midpoint T, V. For the bullish tracking, our all-time low was April 2025. And since then, we're doing this weird higher low. And we have here the same problem like GME. Our T has to be this or this for bullish tracking. We broke over it. The problem is again this pullback here. Because if you look from this low to this peak, we went under the 786, even with this little fucking wick here. So this can't be higher A anymore because we broke that. This can't be A. The only way to make this bullish is that we're doing the same thing like AMC, that this is a higher low. Again, for this higher low, we have also only one chance, that our T was here. Our higher low is finished with this bounce here, and we go up. Confirmation. And what we really have to do is we have to go over 116. Then everything is fine. If we go over 116, everything is fine. Old tracking is still valid. Our next target is A over 20. Pullback. Next target B over 50. Everything is fine. If we're rejecting here, and that's the main problem right now. If we're rejecting here and going down, and if you go break 0.95 cents this year, then this was your little T. And to be fair, then this whole thing becomes little T. Then not everything is lost. Yeah, you will for sure come into this level I was already posting, and I think saying in the last video. I don't know if I made a video, but I posted it already. You will come into the level 84 to 76 cents, something in this range, just for the higher low. Then still everything is okay. If you bounce here, yeah, if you not break all-time lows, everything is okay. All tracking is valid. The real problem will come if you break all-time lows, because if you break here under all-time lows, this whole thing becomes T, and then pretty much everything is changing. Yeah, because if we do that, first of all, we have to find a new low, wherever this is, because it's a new all-time low. Then you have to do a new higher low. And the main problem is your T is changing, because this would become your T, and your M would also change. And in that case, we have to do new tracking for new tracking for A and B. That means you will come down. You will do a higher low. Your next A is not sitting at 20. Your next A is sitting at $4-ish with a breakout retest of this trend. And your next B is sitting at 20 cents. Most biggest problem is time. This will take more time if you do that. It's not over yet. Go over 116, everything is fine. If you pull back, it gets tricky. Just saying. It looked perfect. Same as GME. This fucking pullback went too low, in my opinion. But let's see. Okay, and one last stock, a community wish, RXT. A small little stock, which has potential. Yeah. But I saw it's what was it? No, it is a cloud service. Exactly, cloud service company. I think when I read that right, it only has a 100 million float, a pretty decent float. No reverse splits, which is also fine. For the tracking, C, low, high, midpoint, T. I think the all-time low is quite proven in already. I mean, with this one, it's okay. You already broke out of your trend over your T. You did a nice 0.5618 bounce, also perfect. And then you went over your M. So you already did your B peak. And now the question is this B pullback finished or not? And in that case, I think we have two versions. First, the bullish one, where you say C, lower high, midpoint, T, V. Then you already did your A, high low. You already did your small A. Yeah? Now you would go up to your small B. And if you do that, the B pullback is finished. So I would look for levels. Yeah? If you go over 622, then the B pullback is finished and you will go up. Yeah. To where I can't say. Yeah. If you break all-time highs or not, hard to tell. The IPO isn't giving us anything. So I would say at least something between 19 and 25-ish. Yeah. That would be the bullish thing. If we are not bullish, or for the short term, and you fall under 392 again, yeah, I think your B pullback is not finished yet. In that case, your target would be the 0.5. So this would be your C, L, this would be your M. You will come down, up, T, and then you will go to your 0.5, which is around 257. Yeah. And then you will bounce. So if you do that, it would be a good entry. Just saying. Because we did a normal A pullback, I would really tend more to that we need this pullback still. But as I said, 621 and it's upside. But it looks interesting. Yeah, I will leave it on the list. Because of this, if maybe we get this pullback, I wouldn't go in yet. If we're already in, no financial advice. I don't think you have to be afraid. Because this thing looks like it would go up. Okay. So again, I hope I can upload this video. As always, if explanation video here, playlist here, the big update video back there. If you liked it, even with the bearish outlook on AMC and GME, you can leave a like. If you want to see more, even with the bearish outlook, you can give me an abo. I wish you a nice weekend still, and let's see what happens Monday. See ya.